Yes, you are welcome back to the behind the scene of how I created this flyer. All right, so recently I created this flyer. I think in the month of October. It's one of those designs that really I love so much, and I really don't know why. But then I love the fact the aesthetics behind it. I love it so much, so I'm deciding to do a tutorial video for it, like I've promised you guys. All right, so let's get down to it on how I came about this. I'm going to turn off every single thing, every single element in this design file, and I can be able to show you from scratch how I went about this design. I'm going to skip this process. All right, so we're having a clean plate right now. So, and I decided to look for how I can be able to get it right. So when I looked at anakazo, right, which means compelling power, so I thought about it that one of the ways I can be able to, you know, one of the ways I can be able to pass down the message basically, because obviously when you, like I explained, that anakazo simply means the compelling power, or you can say the compelling power of God, right, in context of Christianity, right? So which means that we're talking about, it's a prayer meeting whereby we pray for God's compelling power, that's influence and all of those things, you understand. So which means that people should be able to draw closer to you or to us. Either one is to be able to compel them, right? Let's say bringing, over to people to where you are. So I thought about that. Okay, how can I depict that? So I looked at it that okay, I got the inspiration from God, right, to be able to do that. Oh, okay, I can do something that, um, you know, whereby it has to show the world. The world equals to people, right? It's people that make up the world. So I looked at, oh, okay, that depicts it. So I'm like, okay, am I going to get it that I'm going to involve people there, or how am I going to get a you know a world shapes, that kind of thing. So I thought about it that okay, compelling power, just show that okay, let's say something is in your hands. All right, so and yeah, so I decided to go about seeking for an image that has to show that oh, there is something in the hands of maybe someone holding down the world. All right, so and I looked at it, okay, even after I have that, I believe that I still need a background. So I looked at it that blue will definitely make this much better way. So I decided to download this background, right? I downloaded it from Pinterest. All right, so I have quite a number of them, and yeah, so I decided to download it and put it in, you know, this frame. All right, so the frame size I'm using for this design is 1080 by 1350 by height. All right, so that's why I say that it's quite long. That's the new uh, frame range that we're using. No, it's the popular way now. We don't get to use a perfect square basically again. All right, so we're having a perfect square, and we're having a portrait. Okay. So I haven't gotten this a blue. All right, it also had some shade of, you know, dark blue shade there. So I looked at it. Okay, let me try to bring in this. So it's actually uh, more like a building that has you building that has steps there, just to be able to make sure that the background is um it's not so plain, you get it. So and then I changed the blending mode to be overlay. All right, I left the opacity like that, so that's why. Yeah, and then I create a clip mask. No, I decided to add you know a mask there, and I brushed it because I didn't want it to show all the way up. I just wanted I just want the upper part to be clean, and the reason why I did that is because I want to put in um the the team up there and some other things which you'll be seeing very soon now. So and then um I finally went down to free pick to get this download. All right, so it is, you know, holding hands planet Earth, right? So and I changed the blending mode to be screen. All right, so let me take it away. So this is it, and I changed it to screen. So it's giving me that look that I wanted, and I'm like, makes sense. But then why not yet done? All right, so I decided that okay, now that I have the wall that I'm looking for, this is the exact message I'm looking out for. All right, so and I thought about it that okay, I need to show that something is coming outside of the world because we are talking about compelling power. That is a force, right? So I need to show that there's something that is showing, this force, something that had to depict, using force. So and then I came up with this here, so it's showing that something is coming out or something is calling towards the world. Just like you're saying, the world is at my fingertips. So something that I have is calling the world. You get the picture now, right? Yeah. So and then I changed the blending mode as well of this to be lightened. Actually, see, this is normal, even though I had brushed it, right? So yeah, and then I reduced the opacity to be 70, just so that it's not so much bolding. It's not so much lighting, basically. All right. So and yeah, so I actually duplicated the world image. All right, and the reason why I did that is because I wanted it to be as though that the world is also showing outside of the uh this if the light effect here. So that's why I had to duplicate it, and I had to brush the part whereby I don't need, or the part I want it to be able to show. So that's why you see that it's duplicate. That's why it's coming out. Look at it now. If I turn it off, you see the hand is not so showing, and the world also. So I wanted the hand to be able to show. So it's giving that effect on the hand here. You can see that. All right. So and then now that I feel like I'm done with the background, all right. So then I wanted it to be that something. If I just write it here, I feel like the background is still somehow plain, somehow. All right. So I decided to come up with the idea in writing text. So I decided to write a round text, rounding the word and the hand. All right, I wrote the compelling power. The compelling power. That's I'm just trying to define what anakazo simply means. All right, so that someone that sees anakazo the first time, you are not trying to ask what does anakazo mean. So obviously, when you see anakazo, before you try to Google it, yeah, actually saying that there's something behind it, showing that the power, the compelling power. So you're like, oh, that could be the meaning, right? So it gives the viewer the opportunity to be able to think through again instead of me just writing anakazo and then maybe under it putting it in a shape, writing the compelling power. So I decided to really, just think outside of the box a bit. So I haven't done this one. I felt like, what if we had more and push it down? So I added one more. Oh, it's making sense. It's looking like it, and boom. All right. So you'll be wondering how was I able to create this text in circle form? All right. Maybe in another video I'm going to show you how I was able to create it, so that this video will not be so long. All right. So that I'll just keep it down to this video alone. And then I change all of the blending mode of this text to be screen. As you can see, yes, I left the opacity and the fill there. And then the next thing I did was, so I decided to write anakazo. So and then I changed the blending mode to be screen. So that's why it's giving like this glass kind of feeling. All right, so now the background is getting busy and interesting for you to be able to see. So it's compelling. Yes, exactly. So I decided to add the picture of the pastor. All right. So and I decided to look for a picture that shows that someone that is praying, something that has to do with it's a prayer meeting, right? And it also has to do that something compelling as well. So and yes, although that's not the next thing I did basically when I was creating this flyer. What I did exactly was I put up the theme, which is Anakazo. So this is actually a mockup. Alright, so you can just go to free pick and just search for go text effect, and you are going to see tons of something like this there. I can't really remember the text font I used for this. Let's try. Let me try. The name of this font is Boom Song. Boom Song. Alright, Boom Song. So and that's it by the way. So you can go check it out. You can download it. Alright. And I'll leave the link for you to be able to download it in the description below. Alright, so now that we're able to download it, so then I left it there. Okay, so I decided to, this is actually how it is. If I turn off the effect, it's just plain like this. So and it's difficult for you to be able to see the this anakazo, right? So I decided to be like, okay, instead of me trying to darken the background, how about I just darken, maybe just darken the text itself. So and I thought about that. Oh, the best way I can be able to do that is to add a shadow effect. So and then I added the shadow effect, which is this. So let me show you in case you want to copy this, how I was able to do it. So I left the opacity at 70, the distance to be 12, spread to be 7, and the size of it to be 98. I didn't add any noise because I didn't want any noise on the effect basically, right? So this way it's the text can block whatsoever it's behind it so that it can shoot up and show clearly. So that way it's not affecting the background, it's still very much there, right? So and then I had to put it on top of the image here. That's the pastor here. So and yes, this is actually not the real picture. I had to edit it using camera raw filter. Alright, so and the next thing I did was I decided to, so I thought about it that let's try to spice up things. So lately one of the things I've been doing to be able to spice up my designs is adding light effect, just like the one we added on the um you know the world, the earth, or whatever you may want to call it. All right, so I decided to add up light to it. You see that, oh, it's giving a kind of vibes, right? It's compelling. And then I decided, okay, there's really no so much of emphasis of prayer, so let's try to add up one. So I decided to look for one of the pictures of the pastor, so I put it here, right? And I changed the blending mode to be screen and reduce the pastor because I didn't really want it to so much show, but then I just don't want the background to be so much plain because this left hand side here is looking like something is there obviously, right? So and then I had to put the pastor here. All right, so and you know it's looking more like it, right? So and then I decided to and then here comes the gist about the design. I've been saying this thing over and over again that I want to talk about the gist in designs or in the gist in flyouts. Basically, there are things that is called the gist in flyouts. All right. So and then I decided to create this, shape here, you know, and the corner radius I'm using is 34. All of them is 34. All right. So and yeah, okay. So basically it's a 40 days prayer and fasting. So I looked at it that how can I best, where do I want to write the 40 days now that there are more I've used up the space up, and I can't put it anywhere up. It will look to make the design look somehow. So I thought about it that okay, how about let's put everything in this box here, or just make do of the bottom, right? The bottom is still very much free, isn't it? So yes, I drew this one. So this is going to be like the mother of them all. So and then I wrote this, this 40 days here. So you can see. Let me try to zoom in. So so the reason why you're seeing the text like this is because I added effect on it, which is bevel and emboss, right? Just to ensure that the the text is compelling. Yes, so you can copy the details here. You can always adjust this to your taste, to what suits you, right? So, and I kept on adjusting till I like what I'm seeing, right? So let's try to, and then fasting and prayer under it, and it has its own box, right? So I put it there, so, and I group it obviously. So let me try to zoom out. And the next thing I did was, okay, now that we have this, so we need the date and time, right? So, and then I came about this. So okay, let me quickly talk about the text that I used for this 40 days. What's the text again? So the name of the font is Made Outer Sans. Made Outer Sans. All right, so you can check it bold of this size. All right, so yeah, it's good. Okay, so the next thing I did was the date and time. I didn't want to use Made Outer Sans because I feel like I might be having too much of space, even though it looks as if I still have too much of space. But then I still feel like it's okay. There's room for breathing, right? And so I decided to make use of Noe. Bibas Noe, that's it. Let me try to close this. So Bibas Noe. So that's the font I used for them. Alright. So, and I haven't done that. Then the next thing is, they want to stream live. So they have a stream link. And yes, so created a box again and input it there. And yeah, so I still felt like, oh, it's making sense now. All right. So, and then the next thing I did was to add another effect to give it that power kind of effect. So I decided to add a firecracker. So, aha, so now it's giving. All right. So, and then I added the church logo. Right. So, I added effects, shadows, just so that it can be able to still show very much, right? So, and that's just how I was able to create this Anakazo flyer. I'm sure it is really, really compelling enough. All right, so let me know what you think about this flyer, and do well to like this video, and yes, your comment is very much helping, and do well to share to your fellow church flyer designers that and yeah, let's keep the channel growing, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.